body hurts.
Aha! Here we go. Welcome everybody to another episode of Push to Talk. It is Saturday because we always do shows on Saturdays. I don't know where anybody got an idea that we do shows on Fridays. I have no idea. But it is Saturday, the 26th of October, 2024. Welcome to the show. We have Dawn here. Yes, that's Dawn. We have Erik here. As you can see, and you have me. Soth is currently
hydrating.
Yep, and I'm hydrating. Soth is currently very good. Soth is currently actually not taking part in the Alliance tournament, but he is part of the Alliance tournament sort of furniture as such. He's I think he's refereeing in some way, shape, or form today. So like he's doing some stuff, either refereeing or he is helping with the coordination with the entry today. So that's why he can't be around. Dirk will be here soon. He is in the middle of doing stuff in space. And, you know, yeah, doing stuff in space. I wonder what that stuff could be. What could possibly have happened, you know, in Goon Space or with Goons that caused him to have to do things in the game? Like, I don't know. Couldn't be anything that big, that massive, or that kind of groundbreaking. Like, definitely nothing that, you know, may warrant a you know, CCP to email people about, right?
I'm gonna undock here and then set a fax flag, and it's gonna be great.
Fantastic. Random facts about bumping like crazy is
in between two Keepstar posts will be funny.
Oh yeah, that'd be even better. But yes, this is actually this is a CSM show, but this is not the CSM shows that we've been doing recently, like the interviews and all that kind of stuff. So we don't have any guests as such. We will be doing the live react to the announcements. So we'll stream the announcements live to you guys on this channel. So if you want to, I mean, it's up to you. You can watch both channels at the same time, or you could watch us because we'll be showing the CSM announcements when they do come. They should be in about an hour to 50 minutes time, somewhere around about there. I believe it's going to be 1800 Eve, so that is 53 minutes away. Whether it will be exactly that time, I don't know, because tournament stuff always tends to sort of, you know, ebb and flow with the speed of the speed of the matches and all that kind of jazz. But Erik, what's been up? What have you been up to? What's going on? Like, how has your week / few weeks been?
I've pretty much been traveling all week long.
All week long, Christ. Up and down the country.
So I'm home like, well, usually I'm home like Friday, but I didn't get home till this morning, so a little tired. Yeah, so I haven't been able to do shit, which is there's probably a certain CEO pissed off as shit at me right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be traveling for the next couple weeks too. End of the quarter, man. End of the quarter. Got to make some cash. But I am wearing today, as you see, as I said earlier, I'm wearing the pink because here in the United States, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah, there we go.
So for the ladies out there, you know, get them checked. Make sure you're okay. It's my public service announcement.
God, it's so weird when they do it. Everyone tries to act like normal, but I'm like, because like you're just like laying on a table, and then there's like, oh, we heated this up for you, and it's like the ultrasound gel, and you're like,
I am aware of the ultrasound gel. I understand.
Oh, and you got like you've got this like 53-year-old guy who's just like is just like acting like normal. You're like, I know this is normal, but still, like, none of us wanted.
I'm just drinking coffee because every guy out there is going, and husband is like, you know, they've all told their wives, it's perfectly normal. I'm there for you, babe.
Anyway, just want to quickly say thank you very much, WQEF, Jiffy, and for Xandro for the Prime subs. Normally we're like
the Prime subs.
Normally
awesome.
We're wrapped up in you know, some rando conversation or some sort of tangent going down here, there, and everywhere that we don't get to sort of shout out the subs. But thank you very much, guys.
Hey, by the way, I just got a drop down on the feed say may contain violent and graphic depictions. We are intended for certain audiences. So
so we get to actually do violent graphic depictions of stuff. Like
we are should do a lot more. We have the little drop down up there. So so we're no longer a family show. We can say whatever the hell we want.
We can be
we
as
had
crass
before?
As we want.
By the way, I do have something to say because, you know, I'm sitting here waiting for you guys, and just before the show, you know, the wife and daughter came home. They were out shopping, okay, for stuff they need for musical tryouts or whatever the hell they're doing. Yeah. And I told them, because, you know, it's almost Halloween. We have no pumpkins. We have no Halloween decorations outside at all because, you know, Eric hasn't been here to put any out and coordinate it, right?
I'm surprised you don't have your Christmas decorations out already.
Oh, hold it. My daughter is like, I can put my Christmas tree up. Don't worry. But so I told them to go get Christmas decorations. And they came home, I kid you not, with like a Christmas decoration, like a little clear plastic church that plays music and has glitter out in the middle of it and all this stuff. And I'm like, did you get any pumpkins? And they're like, no, but this was the best of the last 4. Isn't this cute? We saw this and all these women came over and took the last 3. And I'm just going, breathe.
Fail, complete fail. God damn it! You know, we like you had one job, and
you came up with Christmas decorations on October 26th, 4 days before Halloween. Crying out loud! Oh, jeez.
Christ. Do you guys do the whole, like, you know, trick or treat celebration stuff on the weekend, like the weekend closest to Halloween, or actually on Halloween?
I think it depends on your area now.
Yeah, depends on your township, little city, whatever. But mine, since I've almost lived here all my life, does it on the 31st, no matter what.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of depends on, I think, personal preference. Here, everybody technically can go out on 31st and trick or treat. That's perfectly normal. But what's become more popular, because parents are paranoid and don't just let the 80s happen, they do a lot of trunk or treat, where either maybe the township will have it, or like what the town's having for my niece and nephew today. Churches will host it, and they'll do trunk or treat where people will come in a parking lot of some big area, you know, church, school, anything like that. And people will have, like, decorate their cars with some kind of theme, and then they'll pass out candy to the kids. And it's usually on like an afternoon, early evening. So that way and that'll be on a weekend usually. So that way kids can trick or treat, but they don't have to, like, once again, walk around an entire neighborhood, be out in the dark. They can just get kidnapped and thrown into the trunk immediately.
Try and kidnap kids where I live. You're not making it out of the neighborhood alive.
Yeah. See, when I grew up, we trick-or-treated. It would usually start when it was a little bit of daylight out, or, you know, maybe like 6 o'clock, and we would go for probably 2 hours. Kind of depends how cold it was. And you'd walk around, and some people would have their houses really, you know, decked out. Some would just have like lights or just pumpkins or whatever. And you would just and you always knew which houses gave out the candy bars, which ones gave like full size cans of Coke. Some of them, you knew was the scary house. And I had basically like 2 neighborhoods next to each other. So you could go into either neighborhood if you wanted to. My neighborhood was huge. We actually had my friends down the street. They had the big famous house, because the dad would build a full cemetery in the front yard. He'd have like a ghost spinning around the roof, creepy music playing, cobwebs, and just all sorts of animatronics. Like there was a coffin being propped open constantly by a skeletal arm. And then he would come out. He would wear a flannel shirt that was like cut up in jeans and a mask on, and he would have an actual power tool, either a chainsaw or the buzzsaw, and like rev it up and chase people around with it.
Wow, like,
and he would come out random. You can guess when he was going to come out.
I liked all of that, apart from the fact that he actually had an actual power tool.
Well, if you ever saw their garage,
like, fucking hell, like
if you ever saw their garage had never had a car in it because it was just full of like spare wood and everything from all this stuff that he did. Can you guess what his job was?
Woodworker, lumberjack.
No, he was one of the head engineers at Apple.
Nice.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, and one of their sons.
If only you
for Apple too.
Do you know where he still lives? Because like I think there's a lot of annoyed people who might want to know where that dude is and go like, why do you make stuff that is so fucking difficult to fix? Jesus Christ.
So you know how when you're typing out stuff, it predicts the words that you're going to type and it offers suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So his son, who got a job at Apple, was on the team that designed that.
Oh right, okay. So that's the person who I can complain to, who that does really terrible fucking.
Where it says ducking instead of fucking. Yeah.
It's not even that. It's almost as if it's learnt, like it somehow has learnt my spelling mistakes and offers those mistakes as replacements straight away while I'm typing. And I'm like,
that is how it's built. But also,
I don't know if
Matt,
that's how it's supposed to be.
You have a small phone. Like
I do have
those
a small
buttons are small on your phone.
Yeah, I get that, but like it doesn't help when the actual software is assisting with fucking my my spelling up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
well, and I don't know if
fucking damn it.
I don't know if he still works on it, but when their child that was the same age as, or like basically maybe a year older than me, when he was getting married, we went to the wedding and we were talking with him. His name's Chris. He was a couple years older. And my mom was like, yeah, I know you work with phones. Like, can you tell me why this keeps trying to suggest these words when it has nothing to do with what I'm doing? She's like, oh, yeah, let me take a look at that. What is it trying to do? He was like getting like research, like actual. He was asking her all these questions about like, oh, it shouldn't be predicting it that way. That's not how it's supposed to work. And
yeah, well, it is working how that's working. So
this was like,
so he fucked it up.
This was like 10 plus years ago, so I don't know if he still works on that.
How did they not fix that? If it's been 10 years ago, how have they not fixed this fucking issue? Because it still happens. That's my
the phone predicts
point.
what you like to type. So, you know, like let's say I'm trying to write somebody's name that isn't spelled how it should be. But eventually it learns that that is what I mean when I'm typing out certain words. So your phone is learning.
Yeah, but it's not. It's supposed to assist me in like communicating to people correctly.
Yeah, but if you don't click on the correct word and you just keep typing it like a dumbass, what do you expect?
Well, if I type a single word and then stop and check to see whether every single word has been redone correctly.
You just have to start the word, and if the word you want comes up, you just click what you want.
I mean, that's not. Like how, I mean, that might be how like some people go like approach typing stuff on their phone.
It's
but, like,
literally less typing.
Yeah, I know
it's less typing.
Yeah, I know it's less typing, but it's not.
But why are you making it more difficult on yourself?
Some people learn to type on a phone, not in that particular way. So it's kind of like, yeah.
I mean, I still remember. I still remember typing on a 9-key numpad.
Yeah.
So you know, there's
well, we're not quite boomers, but like you know.
Can we just do a little rant about fucking Discord's spooky random noise change this month?
I mean, you can't change it back.
Noise change.
God.
Like when it started doing it, it came up with a thing that says like you can change it back.
What have they done? What have they fucking changed?
They add a little Halloween-esque kind of spooky. Like,
it's this weird like
notification.
Oh, really?
I was like, and I was just looking around like, where the fuck is this noise coming from?
I have yet to hear this.
You probably turned off your sound from Discord.
Probably. I mean, that sounds like a thing I would do. I would like to take a little moment to just rant a little bit about like Titan hitboxes.
What's this? Dirk wanting to rant about something. When is this
somebody just jumped in and bounced my Titan at like a kilometer a second, and I had to
do an emergency fucking handbrake.
Excuse me while I figure out how the fuck I get moving back to where I was so that I can continue bridging my friends.
I mean, that's why you need a 500 meganewton mic warp drive, just like
that's what I have.
Yeah. That is your classic Titan like handbrake, just right there.
It fucking annoys me that. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm on the undock of a Keepstar. Somebody still manages to jump in close enough to bounce me at more than a kilometer a second.
Nice.
I mean, really?
Well,
fucking please.
I'm just, because you guys said the Discord bullshit.
Yeah, looking.
I had to check my front doorbell. I am set for spooky
doorbell
sound.
Nice.
Spooky doorbell.
Spooky season is in full effect at the Asmock household.
Apparently
no, it's not. There's no fucking decorations.
If you had been here, you would have heard all of that. But you decided to think that bridging people to 49 was going to take that much brain power from you.
God damn it! No blue intel, Dawn. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, just yeah. So Dirk, what you missed was I asked my wife and daughter who were going shopping this morning, because I have been home for like weeks, basically. I mean, the weekends, that's it. So I got to catch up on all the shit I didn't do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what is it? Oh, so I said, get some Halloween decorations. They came back with Christmas decorations.
In all honesty,
those are not difficult instructions. How did they manage to fuck it up?
Well, you start with Christmas decorations really fucking early, Eric. We've talked about this multiple years.
That's true, yeah.
And we have. You can't blame them for like going, oh, we need the decorations. What did he want? Well, Dad always wants to get like Christmas decorations super early, so it must be that. There you go.
But it's really my daughter. It's my daughter. It's not me. It's my daughter. The fact that maybe we have the wood carved lighted advent calendar already up on the mantle upstairs in the loft, pay that no mind.
Oh, I didn't hit that fax. That's sad.
I'm sharing some. I'm
fucking Seema man, I love you.
Did he share what? Did he share that?
Have
with
you?
The old man yells at old man thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that needs to go up on stream.
Yeah. I'll put that up on stream.
that should go up on stream because that's fucking hilarious.
When do we get these goddamn CSM results? When the hell are they coming out? Damn it.
35 minutes or so.
So I won't be here to comment. That's okay. I don't give a shit.
I mean, you could just not.
Fantastic, right?
I mean, whoopee! It's gonna be X people. Who gives a shit?
I mean, Dawn, you could just not go to your meeting, but
I kind of need to go to my meeting so I can just sit there and provide anything.
Is there something urgent and pressing
about how?
Do you really need
to go? I mean, it's just going to be okay. X update on the Great Migration. We are still in phase 2. Like there will be a Diplo update soon. GM, welcome to the cliff notes of your meeting that you've not been to yet.
It is kind of funny. We were like the meetings leading up to the big move were all like not necessarily like full, but there was a lot of like, well, we'll just I guess have to sort it out once we're actually doing it because we're trying to predict like how things were going to go, what was going to be the reaction, what are we going to have to, have available where, and kind of like having to kind of guess at what it was gonna take. And then once the move was announced and that weight's off our shoulders of everybody keeping this secret in, then we, like literally the last meeting was just like, so how's it going? We're like, everything's great. And they're like, okay, I guess we're done.
Well, because you do mine, because you're sort of like in charge of mining and stuff, it's very much a case of it's kind of like geology, right? So like there's never really a geological like emergency as such. So
I'm currently watching about 40 freighters come out of the Keepstar and just wander their way up over to this Titan. It is taking a sweet ass time to get in position.
But I imagine when there is a geological emergency, it's a fucking big ass emergency typically. So
it was just very interesting that literally our last week's meeting was pretty just like, I mean, we talked about stuff, but it was chill compared to like we thought it was going to be crazy, or we're like, it seems to be going okay.
Speaking of the Great Migration, how are you guys doing? I know Mac's in it, so he doesn't care.
I'm getting pinged right, left, and center. And want to know why, Dirk? Because I have a few items in NPC delve space, but like the fucking API doesn't want to like basically determine quite that like, oh, this stuff's in NPC kind of delve and not in just like goon structures or something like that. So I'm getting pinged constantly, going like, oh, you have stuff to evacuate in delve. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have anything to evacuate in delve. It's just the API's being a cunt. So yes. And it's happening on the my main server that gets like priority pings and all that kind of shit. So like, and that's another great thing that I don't like about Discord is you can suppress pings, but they still occur, and you still get you still get like there's still a fucking big fucking red fucking thing there telling you, oh, you might have got a priority ping and you didn't realize, and then you're looking like, oh, it's not. It's just a ping on a fucking channel that I've suppressed.
Do you need to be in the same region with the stuff that you want to deliver from asset safety?
I don't think.
Ooh, delivering from asset safety. That's a good question.
Okay, Kayla, bridge me, fucker, bridge me.
You may actually need to be in the same region to deliver stuff from asset safety. I'd need to double check.
Mm. And if you guys are wondering about the CSM results, it hasn't happened yet. It's going to be happening in about
half an hour. Yeah. Live reactions.
Yeah, we'll put we'll like basically co-stream CCP doing the results, so you will see the results.
I am currently trying to see if there are any ballots from this year from other coalitions.
Oh, okay.
That have been published. If the frat ballot is out there on Reddit, or the horde ballot is out there, for example.
I can tell you one
just
thing
to try and
I can give you one prediction.
Get a little bit of an anticipation of who's going to get on there.
I can give you one prediction as who's not going to be on there, like an incumbent who's not going to be there on the next one.
A prediction, or is this a piece of fact?
I would say it's a fact, but I don't think you could really put money on it as such, because I don't think anybody would take that bet.
Okay.
Well, take that bet in terms of actually like giving you more money than you sort of bet.
I just had a little bit of a heart attack, but it's okay.
But yeah, I don't think Alcoholic Satan's gonna get on.
Probably not.
Just saying.
I think there may be some small issue with Alcoholic Satan getting on this year. That might be a small problem for him. Sorry, buddy, but you can't just leak CSM info and expect to go again next year.
I keep hearing this thing of like, this particular phrase or saying being said, and it's like, it almost seems like it's now part of the course that it's just like a normal thing to do, but like asking for forgiveness rather than permission works for very minory kind of things. If it's a fucking major issue or a major thing, it ain't gonna like fly, right? Like sorry.
There is, I will say, having looked at this and read a little bit about it, that whole bit of he said sorry, he apologized for it, etc. I will actually give him credit and say that I believe he was talking about it mistakenly, right? Like, he was talking about a topic, the damage over time mechanic that's going to be incoming with some of the new ships in next month's patch.
Yeah.
And he gave a little bit too much away, is basically what happened there. And I will say that I will give him the benefit of the doubt and the credit to say, you know, he didn't necessarily intend to be directly leaking information. He just got a bit too carried away. I guess work on that. But I will also say, like, nobody else was able to talk about any details for anything. Nobody else did talk about any details for anything. So he possibly should have been a little bit more careful about what he was saying at the same time, right?
Well, and also it could be a misunderstanding of what was in, because that was found like the day of one of the patch notes that came out. So he may have not realized that what was in the patch note was not the same as what he was talking about, and then it was really more than.
Well, I was going to say, because like there were a few videos that came out this week from
talking
CCP,
about the patch.
Yes. One of them, the Wealth and Destruction one, actually talked about like some of the ships, and also talked a little bit about the new weapon system, right? So I don't know whether it was a case of he was told that there was going to be a little bit of information about this coming up on like a video from CCP on YouTube, right?
And they've been showing
and maybe he
thought
that it was okay to talk about at that particular point. Maybe he thought it was okay to talk about at that particular point, but I don't know.
Like the Alliance tournament is going on, in case anybody didn't know. I don't know how you wouldn't be able to know, given how much Soth and I talk about it, but, you know, it is happening right now. And during the breaks, every day there's a break of like half an hour or so. And so last Saturday they had CCP Convict on during the break, talking about FanFest and what's happening in Iceland next May. If you aren't planning on going to FanFest, because you, I don't know, don't think you'll know anybody or whatever, there will be at least a couple of us there. Soth and I are both going to Iceland next May. I think Erik was looking at it. I don't know if he's made a decision yet. Erik is completely ignoring us at this point as well.
I was there thinking to myself, that's your time to jump in, Erik. Like,
I shook my head if you watch the video. Okay, shook my head, yes.
Yes. We're not looking at the video.
You shook your head, yes.
Yeah, couldn't you see that?
So are you actually are you actually looking at it, or are you telling us you're not going?
No, I was shaking my head, yes. I just haven't made the reservations. I looked at it. I'm hoping.
Oh, right. So this is an Americanism thing. Because in British English, if you shake your head, you're indicating a negative. And if you nod your head, you're indicating a affirmative.
Okay, so, we just say I was nodding affirmative in my Britishese.
So there we go. There will be a few of us there. If you don't know anybody, we'll be around.
I'm trying to figure out if I use if I can use like all 5 of my free Marriott days at the hotel right next to the convention center or not.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I got a lot of Marriott days.
That should work.
But yeah, so there's going to be people there. If you are coming to come and chat to us, as a bit of a hint, bring beer, or in Soth's case, rum.
He likes rum.
But we will happily spend some time talking about whatever. And yeah, so they had Convict talking about FanFest. FanFest is going to be a ton of fun. Even if CCP don't announce anything of value, There will be plenty of people there to have fun with. It's going to be a good time. It's one of those.
I'm nodding the affirmative for you, so you know, Dirk. Nodding the affirmative.
We will make it a fun time, even if there is no announcement of note.
Yeah,
we'll get
one thing you can guarantee when it comes to sort of player meets and stuff like that, and especially meeting these folks, like yeah, you'll have fun.
Especially meeting these folks.
You'll have fun. You'll have fun.
Yeah. So
McLeod is absolutely saying nothing about our Prague trip earlier this year.
I am lips are sealed on that one. So what happened? What happened there?
Come to FanFest in Reykjavik. Dirk guarantees a good time.
I would like to announce that I have finished.
Now you recoded that in a different way. That sounds much more seedy.
Yeah, well, we're not a family show anymore.
We've never been a family show. When were we ever a fucking family show?
Well, I mean...
you missed earlier that we now have the drop-down intended for certain audiences may contain violent and graphic depictions. So we're just trying
that's also probably fucking true.
Trying to live up to the warning, man.
Graphic...
yeah.
Depictions of graphics, I think. I think they worded that incorrectly, because I think graphic violence is something that, like, you can't show in almost anything. And yeah, nudity and that such things is also very much not really a thing we can do like on Twitch either. So graphic scenes or graphic depictions, I don't know which graphic depictions they're talking about, but like depictions of graphics would work because it's like games.
I'm gonna order some Maryland blue crabs and we're gonna eat them on the show. That'll be some graphic.
We're gonna do that graphic, while we're in Iceland. Is this what we're talking about? We're trying to figure out how to remote stream on this show.
You're gonna remote stream from Iceland to the show of a Iceland Chowdown or something like.
This show that can't even sort out Eric's sound issues half the time. I mean,
such a fucking dick. Oh my god.
We're gonna risk it for the biscuit, boys and girls.
Oh, we went there. Oh
yes.
Hello.
You sexist animal, you. I can't believe that.
I was trying to say that I have officially finished and moved everything.
Hey, well done.
Well, good for fucking you.
Congrats.
Technically, I have a Titan out there somewhere. Someone's borrowing, but I'm not moving it. They are. So.
Some of us haven't made it across the gap yet.
What the fuck are you doing?
He's had things to do.
Knocking Pandemic Horde out of the Alliance tournament is what I've been doing.
Things to do, places to be. People to shoot in.
There were tons of move-ups all week. I feel like you could have made one of the other ones.
I am specifically leaving Titans and Freighters behind in Delve to help other people move. I will say that. But, like, yeah, some of us haven't made all of our shit move across the gap yet.
Oh, it's funny. So, like, I gave my Titan to one of my friends because I can't fly it. It's somebody else's Titan.
Why do you have a Titan you can't fly?
Because my friend gave it to me when he was...
What decision was this?
So my friend, Magnum Allen, he's not really playing anymore. He'll pop in to say hi and stuff, but he doesn't really plan on playing anymore. So he gave me his Erebus, and he gave one of our other friends his Leviathan. So I have the Erebus. I have all the skills except the Titan skill book, but it's like, why buy a 6.5 bill book if I'm not using it?
Because you have
soon?
the Titan.
Because you might need to move it at some point very soon.
Like,
I have many friends. So
why would you ever not be able to fly a ship you own on at least one character?
Also, Dawn.
Because I'm not going to spend a 6.5 bill book until I need it. If we're going to have a giant Titan fight, I'll know.
Also, Dawn,
and I'll go get the book.
Also, Dawn, didn't you know prior to the actual announcement?
You need time to train these skills.
And you know what? I've got friends that I know can fly an Erebus, so I was like, I'll just have one of them move it for me. And so I gave it to my friend. I was like, hey, can you move this across the gap? We'll get it to you ALX later. And he's like, yeah, no problem.
So,
and my other friend, hold on. Then my other friend comes up and he's like, hey, do you still have a Titan in Delve? And I'm like, yes, but it's not on me. And he's like, well, can I borrow it? I'll move it across for you. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So one of my Titans is sitting in Delve right now.
Whoa. So I'm getting called out for not having made it across the gap yet with my shit that I'm moving with my own characters. And Dawn here has a Titan that she can't even fly that hasn't made it across the gap yet.
Yeah, but that's because it's being used, and I don't even have to move it.
She can't even fly the ship that she's got left in Delve.
Every other
she's
skill
trying
is
to
maxed
call out
out.
me.
I just don't have the Titan skill book yet.
I can fly it out of Delve. It'll be completely fine. I'll do that.
Really? Honestly,
it may not go the right. It may not go the right direction that you hoped, but like it'll be out of Delve.
If you let Mac move it, you'll suddenly find it in Outer Ring.
Hey, Dirk. Will you move my Super Stormy?
What supers are they?
I don't know. I'll find out. I don't even know what I have anymore.
You still have shit in Delve, Eric?
I do.
Eric probably hasn't
even
been paying
for 3 weeks that Theta will help you with anything that you need help with.
I have been traveling for 3 weeks.
The assumption that this shit is going to be done before New Year is exactly why people are panicking about this move.
But the idea is...
The suggestion that people haven't moved in 3 weeks since you pinged that we are up and moving 4 regions away is exactly why people are panicking about this. You can't.
Okay, well, Eric, if you need help, come to Theta.
Dawn's judgment is why people are panicking about this, guys. That's it. Dawn's judgmental nature is why people are panicking.
We'll talk after, because I got to fly out Sunday morning again.
You need to instill.
So if you want to contract stuff over, we can work on it.
You need to in some way. You need to in some way, shape, or form instill the panic and fear in people so that they actually fucking do it. Rather than go, I'll just do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later.
Everybody knows.
And then they
don't understand.
Everybody knows that if they don't move, they're getting left behind. You just need to give people some time to move.
Still give people time to move and still do the kind of things, but like make sure that they know they're like, they need to fucking expedite that shit ASAP, right?
Yeah. Well, when we started this, I didn't have any travel plans.
my alliance started moving. The thing is, my alliance started moving back, like from the front line back to Fountain, and moving all of our like capital assets back there. Like when I was in fucking Prague with these fucking clowns. So like I couldn't do anything. Whoa. I couldn't do anything. I had to do everything when I came back.
You were in Prague having a great time.
Yes, a great time with a bunch of people who are really funny.
Like, don't fucking start coming out with Prague Tales as if Prague was a burden for you.
It definitely was not. It was fun. But I'm just saying that, you can't have stuff going on in real life and figure out some timing to go and do some movement of assets.
But I'm just reading Twitch chat now, and they're all like, "Give me that bus." let me fly the bus for you. Don't worry, I'll take it. Wink, wink. The reason why I got a picture. I'm going to share this. Thank you, Seema. That's pretty funny, actually. Hold on. Here you go, Eric. I'll put it in staff.
Oh dear. Oh yeah. Seema with the clutch.
I know.
But no, I was actually gonna Seema sent me that one too.
The perfect picture of Coons owning a Titan. Owning a Titan you can't sit in.
I know, I love it. It's funny.
Well, I just haven't needed. I've had the thing for almost a year and a half, and I've never had to sit in it.
You are not making this any better, Dawn.
What?
You've had the Titan for a year and a half and haven't bothered to train to get in it.
But why? But I've never needed it. I already have a Titan I can use that I still haven't used. This is the most I've used it in 3 years. So why would I spend $6.5 bill on a book for no fucking reason?
This sounds a lot like a you problem that was a bad decision.
This is
oh my god!
I love hearing Dawn having a meltdown on the stream. It's fucking hilarious.
Well, the thing is, I struggle with the other skills. I've got the jump skills, the doomsdays, everything like that. I just don't have the actual Titan book. So I did train overtime, everything else. So I have everything else. Literally just got
a little bit trigger.
Dawn can fire the T2 guns. Dawn can use the Galente Doomsday. Dawn can bridge people. Dawn can jump around. Dawn just can't sit in the ship that does any of that shit.
Yeah. And again, because the reason why is most Titan fights, because the lag is so bad, I can only really have one client going anyways. So having two Titans at the same time, one of them is just going to constantly crash. There's no fucking point. So that's why I'm not really that worried about it. Also, I'm kind of hoping that he'll come back playing. I just give it back to him. Don't have to worry about it. But I also had a Ragnarok at one. I had a Ragnarok for like 4 years that I couldn't fly either. I eventually sold that.
I have to ask actually because I have to ask because considering that this move up is fucking massive and you guys have been like
I just collect Titans.
Like, has anybody here been experiencing, or anybody even in chat, like if you've experienced this, let us know as well. But like, have you guys experienced the whole undock and then you're in the middle of like some random like bit of space, like fucking many AUs away from the actual Keepstar, like the undock bug?
Yes,
right?
I had that happen. I had that happen on one of my last dreadnought. I had to move across the divide, and I just said fuck it, we ball, and I just warped from where I was and didn't fucking do the whole hold on, let me put in a ticket. I was like, nah, fuck it. I've got 3 other dreadnoughts, not a big deal.
So it is happening still.
Yeah, it did happen, but that was during major tie-dye still. So
it's
normally
not a bug
that's when
I've
it
experienced.
does. That's normally when it does happen, when there's a lot of tie-dye.
I will say I did have a really fun one, which was I was moving a Sino through a jump bridge, and when I got to the other side of the jump bridge, suddenly my ship was a jump bridge.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Cool. And your jump bridge warps around with you. And
then you like I moved to the next gate, and it took the next gate session timer to like fix it. But yeah, I was a jump bridge for about 5 minutes in this one system.
Yeah, but that's when you start fraps, or like you start shadow play and make sure like you're shadow playing all of that until it like rights itself. Because Pixel didn't happen.
So Great Migration, going well for everybody, from what I can tell. Everybody here is obviously
also
fine and organized and not having any problems with the Great Migration whatsoever.
I feel like that might have played into, to some degree, the increase in the price of Plex. Just maybe.
No, not at all. I can't wait to see the MER to see what the migration of assets from one region, because you see the import-export on regions.
The export numbers for this month are going to be sky high.
No.
Just a tiny bit. Fucking hell. That'll be
for anybody watching the show who and
might not realize.
God, I actually had a conversation yesterday evening about how the ISK supply in the MER works, because it turns out that actually for a lot of people the MER is this esoteric thing that just kind of works, and nobody really understands the mechanics of how CCP calculate it or where the numbers come from.
I know a few people
here on this show, we are in a privileged position to have spent a lot of time breaking down the MER and identifying exactly how CCP are making the numbers work.
That is very much of a thing, right?
In the back.
Because I was going to say, like, I think there's a few people who we know who would say that who would have issue with your statement of the MER just works. Like,
The MER does not work in a lot of ways, but how the MER functions.
That's probably a bit better example.
How it functions.
Yeah, that's a better wording.
Is a very esoteric, very weird thing for a lot of people. I hadn't quite realized that it was so tricky for a while there. We haven't talked about the MER for a while. Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about once we get it released next month. But yeah, it's been one of those weird bits. And so yeah, I was explaining how the ISK supply works on the basis of CCP says that it's one thing, but it's actually another. And it's the logged in accounts, but not the corporation balances, because the account logins are much easier to track than the corporation logins and all the rest of it, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the import-export, for anybody who doesn't know, the import-export from a region is all of the items that leave that region. However, those items are also considered to be the ships and things that those items are in.
Yes.
As such, if you move 1,000 Titans from one region into another, for example, going from Delve into Catch, that will show as an import, an export significant amount from Delve and an import significant amount into Catch.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So.
And Tenerife's now, because it goes
yeah,
across
exactly, right? Like, right. We've moved across like 4 regions. The numbers are going to be mental in terms of what came in, what went out. The net balance for Aquarius and Catch will be fine. But like the overall numbers of what has moved and to where, it's going to be just dumb.
Yeah, so I'm just quickly showing up on the like August 2024's MER. Like, this is the imports and exports and net exports by region graph. Like, the next MER that shows like this month's is going to be just fucking wild comparatively. Like, it's literally, you're going to have a few regions that will have massive and like, you know, massive spikes, and then like everything else will be minuscule in comparison, because they'll be like pushed down in terms of the scale. Like, the scale will be widened out quite a lot, and like everybody else's imports and exports will be pushed down to like fucking almost nothing.
I was gonna say, that scale, they're just gonna have to be like, and here's a whole separate scale for this one. There was a video, I believe Shingley took it, and it only showed, and he cut out parts of it, but it showed just the capital and the jump freighter, or the freighter move up of just the first day. And he condensed it down to, I think, like 6.5 minutes. And I gotta say, if you have a chance of a seizure or epilepsy or anything like that, don't watch it, because the gate flash was just so fucking bright.
Oh god, yeah,
and constant. But what's fun is when you could see, like, so they were trying. You could kind of tell when the FCs gave up, and the will to fight the stream was gone.
I just want to say, what the fuck is this like? How was this ordered? Catch Messi, Low Check,
really,
Carnage, the Citadel, Essence, Sync.
Right.
Sync
is
on
this
Derelict.
Really a question you want to be asking?
No, I'm curious as to how this was ordered, or if this is actually ordered in any particular way.
It is actually ordered. Right? Like, I will tell you, it is ordered. What you need to be doing is looking at the column to your right.
Oh, okay. Is it labeled
because
specifically like that? Okay, that makes more sense.
The bit that you're
it's ordered based on
you were looking at the net. What is import? What is export?
Yeah.
But CCP actually have it ordered based on the region that imported the most down to the region that exported the most.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. A lot more
in terms of value, yeah, it's one of those bits where like CCP should really have switched those graphs over to have the net and then both of the gross numbers. The other way around. But yeah.
I get when you're kind of looking at it like this, but if you're looking specifically for a particular region, it's like, fuck, I'm gonna have to go through this the whole fucking way. But yes, Delve is going to be very much export and right down here. Like NetExport's going to be like fucking crazy, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. But when you were watching that video of the ships going through the gate, at first they were trying to be like, oh, only freighters to go through the gate, no capitals. And they were trying to like keep people from sending their capitals across. And if you watch the video, you just see all of these people just saying, get fucked, don't care, over and over again. And then at some point they're like, okay, Titans, you can go through, fuck it. And then just this wave of avatars just going through one after another.
No,
and my favorite part is when people, my favorite is reading some of the comments on the video, and they're like, oh man, how many Titans do they have? And I'm like, they're like, they've got to have at least, 2 fleets worth of Titans. And I may not know the exact number, but I have a reasonable idea of what the number is, and they're way off. Let's just
I was not joking about 1,000 Titans moving from Delve.
Dirk, were you saying that the money supply were you saying that you're predicting like the money supply was gonna like bump up?
The money supply is gonna fucking
skyrocket. Well, yeah, because when accounts are used for a certain amount of time, their money is taken out of the supply because they're not considered active trading.
30 days. 30 days is the number for when the character wallets drop off the money supply.
Okay.
So it's one of those bits of if a bunch of people resub for a particular event. For example, if you go back to those graphs, Mac.
Oh shit! Okay.
Just so that I can. I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk about this while you've got stuff up on stream, and I know the stream is delayed by like 5 or 6 seconds. Fine.
Yeah, it's up. Yeah.
But yeah, if you take a look at the July, there's a spike around about May of 2019. That's part of a response to a war. Obviously, you've then got July into August and September of 2021. That was also in response to the big war and some of the battles that were going on. People resubbing.
Oh, okay.
People resubbing is responsible for most of the significant spikes. And it's also worth noting that the graph that you have up of the ISK supply overall is a graph that runs over about a 6 or 7 year period.
Yeah.
So, like, these spikes are muted by the just significant time frame that has been going on here. If you actually took that graph to be only the last 4 years or 3 years, those spikes would be much more significant and played out over a much greater scale in that sense. It's also worth noting that the character, the corporation number is just not right.
Corporation, yeah, it's weird how the corporation number doesn't seem to be like moving too significantly. But there's like this jump in terms of like the velocity of like increase in money supply, like from about November 2022. Like,
yeah. So that I would need to go back and take a look at the specific patch notes. But this is what I'm getting at when I say that CCP can track the ISK supply of characters fairly easily. CCP do not track the ISK supply available to corporations particularly well. Even though it's a situation of having like wallet access. So of course they can read the wallet numbers.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's all right, man. It's all good.
But the general situation is that a lot of players will have their ISK situated away on certain characters, right? Like, you have money in some places, but often it's not in a place where you can easily misclick. The corporation wealth mostly comes from assets, though.
Yeah.
Right? It's the stuff that you have, it's sat in a hangar. CCP don't really play very well on that asset value, not least because CCP can undervalue a Titan significantly. And this is a thing that I know is mentioned in Twitch chat. I have a Titan character that has an estimated asset wealth, total asset wealth, you know. What is the value of stuff on this Titan? And it comes up in game, right? The net worth, the total net worth of a character. You click the button about your character info, total net worth. My Titan character is a 2017 character with a total net worth of about 28 billion ISK.
Mm-hmm.
It flies a Titan. Primarily, it flies a Titan. That Titan is worth 10, 11, 12 times that character's total net worth, according to CCP. Like, they just don't have the right estimation of numbers in a lot of places. So the MER looks weird.
Yeah.
But the MER this next month is going to be a ton of fun. Going to be absolutely a ton of fun to watch. Because the numbers will go burr.
It will be really fun to dive into that, just in terms of like the just the sheer amount of like stuff that got moved. But just as an FYI, we do have an ad break coming. But like, I'm seeing that very, very much as an ad break that will clear us through the rest of the show, and also through the CSM,
we'll talk about the CSM stuff.
The CSM
so for 3 minutes, only the people that actually pay us can.
They get to experience sort of backstage a little bit to some degree.
Backstage.
Well, it's a semi-backstage. Make that what you will. But yeah.
Oh man. There's some fucking loser back here with 7 Ishtars.
I hate to break it to everybody, but Fraternity lost.
Oh, what a terrible shame.
I know.
oh, no one's in this site. Fuck yeah. It's mine.
I mean, the AT stuff, I'm very glad to see that.
Are you enjoying it though?
It's been a ton of fun to watch. This year has been possibly one of the most competitive years ever for the AT, quite frankly. 4 teams came into it with the direct invite, but then every other team that you've seen last weekend and this weekend had to fight their way through the feeders, which means that they had to win at least 2 matches in the feeder rounds to even get here. And then we've had some really, really incredible matches. I'd have to be very arrogant to say that my own matches were some of the really good ones. But I will say that I do think our match against Volta was very competitive. Our match against Pandemic Horde, while it was messy, had people on the edge of their seats in terms of the way that we had to win that. Like that bit where we ended up running away from a Vindicator for 2.5 minutes because we'd killed enough and we just had to survive. That was stressful as fuck.
You didn't want to let the Vindicator hug you with its beautiful webs?
Being fucking hunted by a Vindicator? Jesus Christ.
I'm okay without being hunted by a Vindicator. But yeah, also, like, a lot of our practice partners from this year have done really well. Brave are a practice partner of our team for a long time, and they went out just earlier today to Evasive Maneuvering, who are a really good team. Till Doomsday, a practice partner of ours a few times this year, they are now down in the losers bracket, but still basically a top 12 team this year.
Awesome.
Like, there's some really, really good teams out there this year. It's been a really, really fun AT. And if you're a tournament enjoyer out there in the audience who hasn't heard, Jintan will be running Captain's Cup 2 next year, sometime around February or March. Fantastic. So go ahead and keep an eye out. Join the Discord for that. It's going to be a ton of fun. I might actually be able to do some casting for a tournament for once.
All right, I have to go to a meeting. You guys have fun. Bye.
Have fun.
Bye.
But yeah, AT stuff's been great. Check out the CCP Discord. In the meantime, CCP are on their break now, which means we can expect to hear about the CSM results any minute now. Pretty much.
Potentially, yes. It will be a blow by blow, I think, as far as I can tell.
I think they're going to do what they normally do and go through the voting rounds one by one.
Yeah.
So we'll have okay, in voting round 40, X person received the least votes and therefore was eliminated. It's not going to be, here are the 10 CSMers you have.
You would just be like, boom, there we go.
On that topic, let's talk real quick about the Goon Swarm ballot. I couldn't find any of the other ballots posted on Reddit. It seems like nobody is leaking those.
Well, I mean, if you were around for our Friday show, you got to see me actually post, voting the init ballot as such, so you would be able to know.
Okay, so we have 2 ballots we could talk about.
Yeah.
What was the difference, if you can remember off the top of your head, between the Goon Swarm ballot and the init ballot?
Well, I think we were going very much with the, let's put CCP's feet to the fire with ESI. Like, we were voting very much in that regard, right?
So Ariel Rin very high on the
very
init.
much so, yeah. It was Ariel, and then it was Oz, and then it was Luke Ananan. Then it was Kashal, Dujek, Sedal, Drake, Como, and then Switch, and then Young Puke. That's how the init ballot went.
So nobody in init wanted to step up for the CSM this year. That's what you're telling me.
No, Ariel's in init, and
Ariel's in init.
And
yeah, I always forget that Ariel is actually in it because Ariel
he may be the other side of the
he
may be the other side of the world, and he may do a lot of ESI stuff for everybody.
Ariel does so much stuff for everyone that I always forget that they're actually properly affiliated.
Yeah,
right. They kind of go in my Steve Ranukin box of CSM candidates.
Good for everybody. All right. Just so you know. Ariel was good for everybody. Like, if the ESI get properly squared away, by CCP, because Ariel's putting them to task on that front, then that's a win for everybody. That's not a win for for init only. That's a win for everybody.
Absolutely. And we've been talking about for a while, and I know that part of the reason we've been talking about it and not doing it is because my life is busy. But we've been talking about doing an ESI show and actually shedding some light on how important ESI is.
We have CSM19 stuff,
and we need to get right back around to that at some point.
Okay, we're gonna
get the stream up.
We're gonna flip to CSM19 stuff.
We'll talk over CCP Swift as we see fit.
Hang on, let me just quickly do something so you can actually hear CCP Swift.
Okay, so CCP CCP Swift talking about the outgoing 18th Council of Stellar Madness. CSM 18 of the 12 of them, 2 of them left during their period. One obviously was Alcoholic Satan, who was just removed from the CSM, but also Mark Resurrectus, who was elected last year and then chose to become a CCPer in a bit of a betrayal of the player base.
We've heard
Love you, Mark.
much about them.
He says it in jest, obviously.
We use the STV
I was
system,
about to be like,
which allows voters
that's
to
a bit
choose up to
unfair, but then I realized, oh no,
candidates
it's
in a
you
ranked
talking.
preference.
Yeah.
We really love this system, but sometimes it can be kind of hard to visualize how that whole thing works out.
So what we're looking at is round
walk you
one.
through this process right now.
Yeah,
That's how-
CCP
that's
Swift
how
is
it-
currently
These are the number of
explaining
first
how the
place
voting system
votes
works.
that candidates
Basically, the voting
Casney's
system is
got
a
a
preference
upload.
system.
Is, exactly
You get
how they're gonna
up
end
to 10
But let's
votes on
just
your
put that in
ballot.
order a
If
little bit so we can
There
your
we go.
first place candidate doesn't make it, your vote transfers to the second place, etc.
So Kaz and
you can see
Luke
Kaz and
are
Luke,
in.
They have a bunch of votes.
Straight up over the
Straight-
quota,
straight off.
absolutely
So many
incredible.
votes, they are
Straight over the quota.
elected to CSM19.
Quota being
They-
3,246, by the way.
Yeah. What this means is that actually a bunch of those votes for Luke and Casimir will cascade down the ballot to other people.
Yeah.
Nobody should really be surprised that Casimir is first place on the GSF ballot and Luke Ananan is first place on the fraternity ballot.
Zintage
Got
just
through.
got an
Nobody
app-
should be surprised at that.
So Zintage has got
Vintage gets a ton.
4,000. Like, so
Yeah.
he's
And
going through
I'd-
there.
I'd expect Storm Delay probably gets
that Zintage managed to
a-
get 4,004 votes.
a number 2 slot
from the
of like
560
1,000.
first place votes
Yeah.
that he originally had.
Hopefully-
And also,
so-
it's worth noting that
So, yeah,
Vintage
good
gets
job,
over
Zintage.
the
Looks like
threshold
he's over
Yeah.
in
quota
the
of
first round,
32.46.
and therefore there is a
So
cascade
he'll
from
be the
Zintage.
next
Potentially
candidate.
5 of
About
3.
1,300.
Yeah,
Of course, we also
1,300.
have Luke, who had a bunch of
Which is pretty
overvotes.
awesome. Hopefully out there, you
Those
guys,
votes get
like,
distributed within
hopefully
the
the
system as
sort of
well.
stuff that you're hearing
those
from
1,393
CCP,
votes,
from
it looks
CCP Swift
like
and
if you
like
had Luke
our
on your ballot
conversations
number one,
isn't like
a lot
too
of people had
hard to kind
Kenneth
of
Feld
separate.
number 2 on their ballot. So those votes
But yeah.
will spill over to Kenneth.
Yeah,
But that
see,
isn't enough to get Kenneth.
I'm not hearing Swift,
Right.
so
He stays in the system.
Okay.
but I'm not on the
We do
feed,
this whole
right?
thing
So
moving
internally.
around,
Mhm.
And Kenneth Feld moves
that's
So,
to the 6th spot.
Luke
Well,
goes to
Kenneth
Kenneth.
is the
Kenneth
the only thing we know
is
for sure
in
right now
like
is that
6th
Kaz,
place.
Luke, and Zintage
Yeah.
have been elected.
I'm not
And
convinced
because
Kenneth
the
Fell
first
makes it
round
through,
is
but we'll
the
see how
craziest.
I don't know.
the rest of the
We have
If
votes.
you're at
Zintage
6th,
with
if
over
you're
votes as well.
if on the
So
first
his
round you're
votes
like,
now
you know,
need to be
you're
redistributed.
at
And,
6th place, but
let's see
technically
where
you're
they go
third
in the
from
system.
getting the next spot. Like,
Yep. If you're Dujek,
It's,
you're feeling pretty good right about now.
I think
Your
it's
team
fairly
might be
likely that
eliminated,
Kenneth will get in.
But you picked up a whole
I'm
bunch of
actually-
votes, and
I'm-
you
Whether
got
I
I'm
think that
trying
that
to
should
do-
actually,
with.
you know,
You felt
whether that
pretty
should be a
lucky
thing
there
or not, like,
anyways.
I
So
that's another
Dujek
thing.
grabs a bunch of a bunch of Zintage's votes.
I'm
And again, we reorder
trying
things.
to do
Hopefully Kenneth didn't
Some-
get too comfortable
check.
with the 6th spot
some
because he
mental
got bumped down by
maths
Dujek.
on the number
who
of
now
votes
takes over
cast
the
this year. I think this year's actually
My
quite
goodness,
low
what a
in terms of total
crazy
number of
round it's
votes
gonna
cast.
be. And we've got, I think, 30.
This is
something rounds
surprisingly
to
low,
go through, but
I think.
a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
Some of the early rounds.
We'll
not the
wait on
most
CCP's
exciting,
full
but they're still
breakdown,
incredibly
but
important.
Yeah, we.
yeah, I think this is low
there's kind
votes.
of-
I mean,
for,
the
for this
the
year.
quota for
It's
the
not
quota
every
for getting
single vote that
over
goes from
and
Kaz
actually being
to
elected,
Zintage,
being
and not every
3,200
single vote goes from Zintage.
is
To
probably an
Dujek.
indicator, right?
There's a
Because
little
like
bit of stuff in
I've seen
between
that
there,
quota
so
up
let's
up
kind
to
of move that
4,000,
around
like
and
easily
rearrange our
4,000, right?
candidates.
Like in previous
All
CSM
right, there
elections.
we have it. The
Yeah.
order is
So
updated.
that's
Yeah,
normally a
exactly.
sign of,
Candidates
you know,
moving
how many
into the
people have
next
voted,
spot.
what the quota is on round
And
one, as
it's time to begin
far as I
the
know.
STV process. So what's going to happen now
And we are going to
the
see
candidate with the least amount
these
of
next
first
few
place
rounds
votes is gonna be
go
eliminated.
pretty quickly because
Their
there's so many
votes,
people with
assuming there
low
are-
amounts of
So-
votes.
So currently we have a 2-to-1
on the
advantage,
are going to be
you know, from an
redistributed within the
Imperium
system.
standpoint
The quota is
on
going to be
the
reduced.
the
and they're
next
going to rerun this
CSM.
whole simulation again
with
to see
Yeah.
where those votes go.
2 guys from
So,
Goonswarm, Zintage,
unfortunately,
and
for atheists
Casnir
to fail,
with
we have
Luke
to
from
say goodbye.
from Fraternity.
Boop.
Yeah,
Goodbye,
we're
atheists
not
to
going to
failure.
see
15
anything
first-place
go
votes will now get
significantly
redistributed into the system, like I was
differently
saying,
here
and
in the
then we'll
elections
kind of
until
skip
about
ahead in this
round
process.
20 or
As I was saying, again, you'll see the
22,
quota
I
go
think.
down round by round, and there are two ways.
It's gonna go quite quickly, and then
The way that
we'll
we've
start
seen
seeing
first is get more votes.
Some actual impact once we get into the people who have a few hundred votes.
Right. So it's going to be, as
looking
you can
for them.
see, we're removing small numbers going forward from here. So we're going to skip a few steps.
I mean, it was never really,
because we
it's not really a surprise in any particular way, shape, or form that like top 2 on the Goon ballot gets in, right?
No,
and it's not really a surprise that like the top person
on the frat
one's on frat's going to be getting in. So like
in
in terms of like, oh my god, react kind of thing. It's this is quite an obvious thing at the moment.
Sticks.
The first few are always going to be interesting.
I'm wondering who's going to be the wormhole candidate. That's what I'm wondering.
The really curious bit exactly is like the last 3 or 4.
See now we've skipped to round 7.
We're all the way down to round 7 now.
But we can update the order, and we can also see
skipping like the reason for going from like round 1 to round 7 is basically sort of like the movement of various different of cumulative votes going in, but no real kind of anybody getting elected as such or going past.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why you went like suddenly from round 1 to round 7.
It's eliminated. So we're eliminating here from the bottom up. But let's skip a couple more rounds just so we can kind of see things a little bit more clearly and see how things are shaping up with the votes.
It's around 17.
We say goodbye to Frippy,
Oof.
Grim of the Mad, Augustin Augustus, Neo Shocker, Millen
So
Hexator Gaming,
Frippy
unlucky
for
Prospector Shiplock.
But
and
like the only sorry Frippy, but if we're being real, the only person who is like a game name here is Prospector maybe and Millen Arc Trooper. Lots of small candidates who were kind of just there to have their say in the announcements, in the conversation.
And to some degree, like when it comes to sort of elections and stuff like this, a lot of it is down to like name recognition, right? And so unless you're known inside of like really big orgs and like you're being put like on the pedestal of a big org and a big list, like Goons, like like Frat, that kind of thing, right? That's where name recognition probably isn't really too much of an issue globally in the whole game. But like,
absolutely,
the more you're recognized as by everybody as a particular person in game, the more likely people are. When they have a list and they're kind of going, well, I know, top 3, but like, who else am I going to vote after that? Like. If they see your name and they know you because they've seen your name and they recognize your name, like you're more likely to actually be put in there. So like being on and being eliminated might be a bit of pill, but like it does help with like just getting your name out there.
Further through the rounds, we've got more votes.
Yeah, absolutely.
System. So it started with a couple dozen.
This is, as I say, this is where we're starting to get things interesting. That kind of mid-20s rounds. The vote transference is pretty significant here. Also, the vote transference is significant here because in some cases, this is also the part where some votes start falling off completely because not everybody votes with the full 10 slots.
I always think that's insane.
It's a really good. It's a really bad idea to not vote with your full 10 slots. But votes start dropping out here. Votes start, people who only had like 3, 4 candidates on their ballot. Here we go.
But there is also that kind of...
We go 5 rounds ahead on the CCP stream, and like the quota drops, but the number of votes that are actually still available, not anywhere close.
Ariel Rin
moves into the lead. Some additionals,
getting really close.
Because the other thing is when as people are like falling off the back, getting eliminated, like especially in these later rounds, they have accumulated more people, like more votes as well. So like it kind of depends obviously on their lists as to
there's a
where
really
the
good
votes kind of
chance your
go,
vote's
but
gonna
like
stay
there is
all
a
the way
larger
to the
amount of
end,
votes
and
potentially
someone
sort
that
of
you
like to
is going to
re-inject
be
into the
receiving
rest
that
of the
But let's
candidates,
go ahead
right?
a
Yeah,
little bit
absolutely.
and just see how it's going to be. Actually, you know what? Let's tidy it up. We've got we had to say goodbye to some people. Now it looks like we've got more people
So Dutch
eliminated
Gunner,
than are
unlucky
left.
dude.
Let's check out our final 20.
I just noticed his
head
name
to
down
head.
there. Like, unfortunately, it was unlucky. Better
All
luck
right,
next
so
time, dude.
why don't we focus on 20? Well, 10 of these candidates will be directly elected, right? You already have Kaznier, Luke, and Zintage. Those are definitely going to be on CSM19. The next 7 of the highest vote getters that you elect will be
Yeah,
on
CCP Swift is actually about to talk about a really interesting point with the CSM as well, which is that 10 of them are elected directly by players, but 2 of the top 20 that are currently on screen will be selected directly by CCP. CCP will be making a decision about who will help them in the next year. So actually, it's really interesting to watch for who CCP have decided to pick here, because that will tell us something about where their priorities are going to lie for the next year. What are CCP thinking about? What are they thinking they will need more feedback on?
So it is a grueling run to get there.
It's not what the players care about, it's what CCP cares about that makes those final 2. So they will be a really interesting pick this year.
CCP are going to be doing in the future.
And you know what?
The
crazy thing about this is there is a wormhole in that group.
We do want to
and he's not at the bottom 5. Mick Fightmaster is literally up there
as we move through
in front of Oz, in actual fact. That is insane.
Only 70 votes away from Gustav, but that's not
I don't know what he did. Like,
I mean, even if there isn't a wormholer directly, like,
to be fair,
Mark Resurrectus was the was the wormhole candidate last year as an actual wormholer, and then he joined CCP, right?
So
previously, Brisk, no nullsecker, was the wormhole candidate because he was the only one who would listen to them.
Yeah. So Mick is from No Vacancies. By the way, they don't have like massive amounts, but like I think I recall when we were talking to Mick about like his candidacy and that kind of thing. He was talking about like having a wormhole United Nations like as a policy, as like a thing, as like a round table to sort of to help with that kind of thing, and that might actually be assisting him in this.
So
that is unfortunately the way wormhole voters need to go with things, right? Like the wormhole groups always need to band together to select a candidate.
Yeah.
And when they don't do that, it doesn't work for them because they just can't get the numbers.
Yeah, like when wormholers split their vote, and to be honest, when I was looking at like the candidates, like there were a lot of, I think there were like,
somewhere,
were they like,
and Mike Azariah just below him.
And it's the same for high sec as well, right? Like some of the low sec alliances have enough numbers to like get their guys elected in the end.
Yeah,
but the high secers, everybody in high sec complains that they can't get anybody elected to the CSM. They never work together about it either.
Exactly.
This is how voting works.
And this is the thing about wormhole candidacy. Like there were 8 candidates, and I was there thinking to myself like, God, if there's 8 candidates, then the votes can be split like crazy. But seeing Mick Fightmaster up there, it is a positive sign. Like especially considering that he's in the middle pack right now, not at the bottom. Like
over there as well. So you're 661.
I have hope for Mick.
Not enough.
It may be, like,
but let's see where they go.
May not happen this year, but like,
a couple big chunks
should.
Here.
You should look at this and be like, I got quite far. If it doesn't happen, for him this year, then you should look at this and be like, I got really quite far. I should definitely
and of course,
you should definitely continue with that whole like wormhole United Nations thing. And you never know, it may well work next year.
From kind of all over the place. Mick Fightmaster picks up 60. Dujek One Eye picks up 48. Really impressive stuff. And now let's kind of reorder things and see how it's shaping up. This is getting to the part where my palms are getting sweaty if I'm here, just barely hanging on.
I'm also surprised young Puke is still there as well. Like,
and let's see where his votes start to go. Again,
I mean, this really is the point at which those people who weren't like voting for 10 people in their list of preferences, this is where those votes really start dropping off.
Yeah, this is the point where like it really starts to like work.
It starts to matter.
Yeah. If anybody says like, if anybody gives you a list that like to vote on, and it's just like 3 or 4 people, because we've seen it, right? We've seen large alliances literally give people like lists to vote on, and it's like 3 or 4 people. Like, if you see that, add people to the end. Like, you know,
always add people to the end on your preference. Like, go out, educate yourself. It's the same as real life voting. I don't want to get too political about this, but go out, educate yourselves on the issues that matter to you, and vote according to your issues and your preferences, and see what it works. So like, if you have a list, you can cast 10 votes. Wait,
there we go. Fucking Dujek and Ariel's in there. Nice,
perfect. That's a really like cool. I know I'm a bit biased here, but that's a really great CSM so far. Like the Luke as well. Luke has been a historical like great person on the CSM. So yeah, we finally get Ariel onto the CSM. That's a really good one.
Oh my goodness, this is getting tight.
I'd have to say, like, you know, it's unfortunate that Kashal didn't get like back on, like she's been eliminated as such. But like, we had her on. She was pretty awesome. It kind of sucks that she got eliminated, but you know, it is what it is.
Got elected as well.
Kashal was also a CCP pick from last year. We have to remember that. Kashal wasn't elected Kashal was a CCP pick who was running again. So Kashal still has some potential to get those CCP picks again.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is true. Good point, actually.
No, nobody here is completely out of the fight.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those bits of you could still get a CCP pick.
Mm-hmm.
Been on this CSM
good point. Very
countless
good
number
point.
of times, 6. And a driver of
Mike Azariah.
Let's see where his votes end up going through the system.
Could be a pick from
Mike,
CCP.
What is he doing? He picks up
Mike not breaking the CSM 10-year records this year. For anybody who doesn't know, the CSM record is 6 terms on the CSM.
Yeah.
It is a shared record between Steve Ranukin, Mike Azariah, and our dear friend, the late Innominate.
So Deepwater Hooligans said ours is going to be like going to be eliminated next with. I don't know what the votes are going to be like there, but like
some members of your CSM19.
You know, I mean, we are talking about,
and it's getting tight out there. So Dalros, where do your
Deepwater
votes?
Hooligans here.
Oh, that's a big chunk.
Oh,
we're going to see Kenneth get in on the quota.
Again, just stealing a bunch of votes.
Oh, yeah.
Mick Fightmaster is
my
probably going to hit over the...
My bad. So the Oz got in, Storm Delay got in, and Kenneth got in because the like reduction in the quota.
Welcome back.
And obviously Kenneth got some votes again.
Oh, Seto jumps all the way up.
Yeah.
And this is how we do it.
So this is two more slots.
Hey, Mick got in.
Mick and Seto steal it.
Nice.
Shit. We've got our
Mick got in.
Kaznian,
hell.
Luke Anian, Zintage Anaka.
So I have to congratulate Wormholers and Mick specifically for solidifying at least solidifying enough wormhole votes and enough votes in other places that I imagine in some way, shape, or form. You know, whether it's votes on the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th kind of, you know, position as such in some way, shape, or form. But like, you got in, dude. Congrats.
In their respective areas of space.
Fucking
okay, so CCP decided to pick on Drake Idon and Young Puke for their selections.
Will continue shortly after this.
That is our CSM. We have 2 goons,
so Drake,
one brave,
is
one
like,
in it.
Drake is like
a horde.
back
appeal. Okay.
So Drake kind of is like wanting a more bloodthirsty, fair, and more fashionable New Eden. Apparently, he was at least he's in Rote Capel, so you know,
okay,
that kind of thing. And
that's cool.
Drake is decent.
Yeah,
he fixed the Pockvan mess.
And Young Puke is in Sedition.
Yeah, so
that's a long time since I've heard that.
So non-soft holding group, basically.
So obviously, Bard, you just joined us. We were doing a little bit of a live reaction to the CSM results.
Yeah. So I ended up watching them just before I got back.
Yeah. Como did. I'm in. Yeah. Can they not? Oh shit! Hang on. Can they hear now? I mean, you should be able to hear stuff. Oh shit! Yeah, no, I know particularly why. Okay, so that was me fucking up because I was like, here we go. Now they can hear you guys because I moved over to a different to our main sort of scene.
He pushed a button and it was bad.
And instead of going like, oh, you know, I need to mute this because like it's the audio from the you know, from Eve's sort of channel. And I didn't look at what the actual fucking name of it was, which was Discord audio. Fucking moron.
Oops.
So yeah, sorry about that.
What we were saying there in the break when you couldn't hear us, just by the way, is that actually this is looking like a very solid CSM. I was also commenting just real quick to cover it for anybody who hasn't heard it already. When you take a look at the GSF Imperium ballot, and the number of people that were on that list, and then you take a look and you compare it to the CSM, 7 of 10 of the GSF ballot were elected directly, and an extra 1 from the GSF ballot made it through on the CCP pick. The only people who didn't get through to the CSM from the GSF ballot are Anklai and Kashal Aderon. Kashal, obviously, as we noted, was a CCP pick from last year. They didn't have a huge amount of voter support. And Anklai, GSF University director, very focused on the new player experience and how new players in EVE come into things, didn't make it either. But 8 out of 10 ain't bad.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty damn good. And honestly, personal opinion, I have nothing to do with the ballot. I would have liked to have seen Drake on the ballot, but I'm glad he got on anyway. Personally.
So in its kind of ballot, we got 7 of 10, but then again, like the others that we didn't get was like people who we knew we didn't need to vote for, like Casnier and Zintage. We didn't need to vote for. We knew that they were going to get in, so there was no point actually like voting them in any particular way, shape, or form. And then like, you know, are we going to vote for Storm Delay or Kenneth Feld? No, because they're from other, they're from, hostile alliances. So no. So
yeah, well, I mean,
yeah, there is a
Kenneth Feld especially. Right.
Like,
he's a nice.
I'm sorry,
like,
Ken, you're still the architect of Feldestry here.
I've met him. He's a nice bloke, but like I have issue with his stance when it comes to sort of industry, and I feel like him and Ariel are going to have like some
disagreements,
just some very I wouldn't say public, but some very vocal disagreements with regards to certain things being available on the
pointed disagreements.
Yeah. Industrial indexes and that kind of thing. Like, I mean, I personally don't think that needs to be something that like everybody should know immediately. Wherever.
Also, worth noting, this has happened elsewhere, but Brisk Rubal's reaction to the 12 people elected to the 19th Council of Stellar Management, and I will post this picture in mid-show messages if you want to get it up for the full list of people. That's all is the list of people. But Brisk Rubal's reaction: this is the best CSM that Merc and he haven't been on.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, there's Brisk Rubal's opinion on this. Greatest CSM he and Merc haven't been on.
Yeah.
And I will say, as much as I kind of feel for Mike a little bit in terms of him not being re-elected for a 7th time, I am somewhat satisfied by the fact that Innominate and Steve still share the record for the most tenured CSMs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Mike, but I don't think we can allow you back on the CSM. We have to maintain the record.
I mean, who's the next closest on the record?
I would have to double check my spreadsheet. But I know Merc has 3 terms. Brisk has maybe 4 at this. No, yeah. Brisk only has 3 because he took a year's break, didn't he?
Might have been. What's Storm Delay?
Give me a second and I'll figure it out. But Storm Delay hasn't been on there Storm Delay's been on there 2 years. This will be his 3rd.
Okay. Luke is probably about 2 or 3 as well.
I'll look through. Yeah.
Arith has 4.
Mm-hmm.
Killer Bee only had 2. Gobbins had 3. I think it might be Arith as the next most tenured in recent years, at the very least.
I also wanted to say, by the way, because we commiserated on certain people not getting on, like, a certain someone who was also trying to get on the CSM and who is a, long-term friend of the show and on more frequently than a lot of people, in actual fact, didn't get on. Phantomite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unlucky dude.
Pantomime, yeah. I am sorry, but I am not sorry your views on Ansiblexes will not make it there.
I mean, to be fair, I think he's got his wishes somewhat with Ansiblexes already anyway. They are nerfed,
exactly.
Not into the ground. He hasn't fully got his wish, but there is definitely some nerfs there, which I don't think a little bit of nerfs like we got is a bad thing.
I mean, he did admit to the fact that like they are being reduced in terms of like their just frequency and that kind of thing. So I know that he is happy in that regard. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's going to be good to have Drake on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know people are going to go, yeah, but weird Pockfin guy, but like
I think it's
weirdly
actually...
argues against
You know,
how printery it is.
You know, the funny thing is, you did that segue that's really nice because, like, I've got some stuff to show, and there was stuff.
I think really
there was stuff on Reddit to show.
Okay, we're talking POCVEN a bit more here, huh?
Yes, it's printing more ISK than all of Wormhole Space combined as of July.
Absurd.
Like, and just so you know how ridiculous that is. Just how ridiculous that is. That data is from August MER, right? And for context, from the guy who posted that Twitchy Bat on Reddit, there are 27 POCVEN systems. There are 2,604 wormhole systems, and 27 systems in POCVEN are beating out 2,604 wormhole systems in total ISK printed into the game.
Can you throw me that link? I just want to double check something because there might be something I want to add to that. The Reddit post.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will.
That is a really, really dumb set of numbers, though. Like, how the hell does that...
CCP...
How is that even allowed to happen?
It's nuts.
That's just sleeper components and corporate reward payouts. So we're also not talking about the not the ice belts, the home fields.
Oh, yeah, no, that's also true. Yeah.
Which are 11 billion a time.
Oh, like, is that the stuff that's in POCVEN or?
Yeah. The POCVEN things are 11 bill for a site.
Because to some degree, you can also kind of say the same for Moon Goo and stuff like that in Wormhole Space potentially, and ice and stuff.
To a degree.
It's not that much. It's not that much.
Level.
It's not that much. Not that kind of level. But like you are talking about, 2,500, 2,600 systems worth of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Small numbers add up when there's lots of them.
POCVEN is a money printer.
Oh yeah.
But also, I think I'm going to use some, not the exact wording, but paraphrasing something that Drake said the other day, because it did resonate a bit. Sleeper components, a blue loot, you've got to bring them back to K-Space and do whatever you do with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to move them. There's risk.
You have to move them, you have to sell them.
There's risk, but I don't think they're even a direct ISK injection, are they? You have to do other stuff to get the money for it.
Blue loot you sell to NPCs.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's an asset that comes in and is then an ISK injection. It's produce. You just need to move.
It's ISK injection, but with more steps.
The trig payouts are just direct to your wallet.
Yeah.
There's
so it's basically ratting, but like
but on steroids.
Yeah.
2 and a bit or 3 bill payout for a site.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
Yeah, that is just dumb.
I think the best bit is even the guys in POCVEN acknowledge that it's broken. It's just that case of, this is our broken mechanic, we'll use it till they fix it.
It's that bit of exactly what we did with the Rorquals, right?
Yep.
Like, we told CCP before they made the Rorqual patch, if you do this, this is how we will react.
Yeah.
CCP made the patch. We reacted exactly how we told them that we would react. And then we spent 3-4 years doing it before they actually decided to try and address it. CCP just sometimes are brain dead when... there's a functional mentality at CCP that's really weird to me, and we've talked about it a lot over recent years, but, it's that bit of... Because the players tell us that this is how they're going to react to a thing, they are trying to metagame us, and therefore we cannot do what the players are suggesting.
Mm-hmm.
And this mentality that we are always metagaming, and don't get me wrong, we are metagaming sometimes. We are, we metagame a lot, player versus player, in that sense. But when we tell you that we are going to abuse Rorquals into the ground if you leave them as they are,
That's not metagaming you. That's just saying it to your face.
That's not us trying to like get a benefit for ourselves. That's telling you it's stupid, broken, and you need to fix it. So like, it's one of those really weird bits of Parkvan is broken. People are telling CCP Parkvan is broken. People have been telling CCP that Parkvan is broken for a lot of years now. CCP still haven't quite listened to what needs to change in order to actually balance Parkvan back down again.
No, and you know,
eventually they'll get there, maybe.
I see Ralph's comment of, you know, stop asking CCP to know something. I'm going to move to Parkvan now. Need the ISK to cover my Plex costs that are going through the roof. Yeah, Plex costs absolutely are, but
yeah, we're sorry about
Parkvan
that.
Parkvan is part of that problem.
Well, no,
it's having an inflationary effect on the economy in the game.
It is.
Yeah. It is making it go up.
The point I was going to say is, I'm sorry, but we're moving now. Plex costs were always going to spike at this point. But no, Plex prices have been consistently increasing, and that is an issue because it does increase the amount of work people have to do to sub for a month, and that then incidentally forces this weird feedback loop. It's not weird; it's a pretty self-explanatory feedback loop. But you need to do more stuff to get your month's worth of sub without paying for it out of your wallet. Okay, you work on identifying what is the most effective thing to pay for your sub for the month. You identify that Parkvan is actually really fucking good for money right now. So you go do the really broken thing with characters, multiple characters in a lot of ways, to pay for your subs. And then because you're doing that, the sub price goes up because more people are trying to access the same amount of Plex. And so more people go back into that feedback loop of, what are we going to do that is the most valuable thing to do right now?
Yeah.
It's fucking... it's dumb.
It is. The other thing that's referenced is low stock of Plex. It is low, kind of, compared to historically, but that's because they've had that bloody HyperNet core sale on. Turns out people just dump the Plex into the HyperNet cores because they're half price.
Never not gamble.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the gambling, it's the turn the Plex into HyperNet cores to have a stockpile of HyperNet cores while they're super cheap, and then sell them on when their price goes back up and they're at high price.
I mean, that's also market spec. It's part of the course, but never not gamble.
The thing is, it's
right?
just draining the Plex supply.
Loot boxes.
Yeah, and when you drain the Plex supply,
who doesn't want?
They're going to increase in price. Yeah.
I saw a couple of HyperNet bits actually the other day for a couple of AT ships, a Shapash and I want to say a Gary. Both of them AT frigates. The Shapash, the HyperNet cores, it was like 8 HyperNet cores. Every single HyperNet core was 17.5 billion.
Oof.
So, you know, here, take a gamble whether or not you get a 1 in 8. Roll a d8. Do you pick the number that comes up for 17.5 billion-esque?
See, I want to reference something. Everyone's focused on Torvald's 200 bill dealer.
Oh, God, do we have to talk about the attention seeker?
No, we're not going to talk about it. I actually wanted to deflect and go, what no one's realised is someone else is running a 500 billion ISK Panther. They haven't lost it yet.
No?
It's someone we already referenced, and they're on the CSM now, and they live in Parkvan.
Oh? That being?
Drake.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's a Panther he runs. He kitted it out with basically faction mods all the way. It's 500 billion ISK's worth.
Here are my officer guns on my Panther.
Yes, it's Tobias guns.
Well,
it's fucking... It's AT flagship level ship, but for making money in Parkvan.
Do we want to talk about...
It's more.
He has confirmed it is.
It's more than
just...
an AT flagship of any sort, because he can roll whatever the fuck he wants. In the AT, at least there are limits. At least there's some sort of reasonable boundary for what you can use.
that's going to be the next goal, isn't it? Fucking, what are they? The multi-whatever things? Mutadaptives onto biases.
Yeah.
Get good rolls. Dear.
Running a full fit of mutated. Yeah. Ludicrous stuff. I would like to point out, like, considering that Drake was actually selected by CCP, if he's somebody who is fairly active in Pokemon space, does that not indicate that CCP could potentially be looking at changes to Pokemon?
Possibly.
Yeah, actually,
the other thing is Drake has.
I want to take a moment here. Drake's in Twitch chat.
Oh, yeah.
Drake's on our Discord.
Just bloody come
Drake,
on, dude. Yeah.
Fucking jump in and give us a live reaction to your election or your selection. Sorry, to CSM 19.
Does he have roles to jump into thing?
He should do, and if not, we can drag him.
Yeah.
But like, let's actually get a live reaction from
really cool.
One of the guys who's that. Like, you're all talking about around it, and
they kind of
Drake's fucking Panther and what have you. Like, let Drake talk about his Panther and how stupid it is himself.
Hey, Drake.
So hello, Drake.
Hello, boys.
First thing,
Congrats.
how are you feeling?
Congrats, man.
Is my mic working, first of all?
Yes,
it is, yes.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. I may have spilt some whiskey on it, so...
Are you, was that a celebratory toast?
No, I was just drinking.
He was like, I've been eliminated. I'm just going to start drinking like my sorrows away. Oh shit, I just got selected.
Well,
that was the celebratory disappointment.
As soon as I saw it hit top 20, I was like, oh shit, I might actually get selected here. And then that was when like all the drinks stopped. But yeah, no, I'm fucking buzzing.
I mean, congratulations for a start. You may not have made it through the votes, but obviously CCP have assessed their pool of candidates and identified you as one of 10 that will really like help them out in the next year.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be buzzing.
Congratulations.
It definitely.
Also, condolences for the amount of unpaid work you're going to have to do in the next year.
To be fair, it's work I probably already do. The amount of stuff I do, like even not being on the CSM, just to keep Podfin as above water and above board as possible. Like I'm probably going to do like 50% more.
Yeah,
which is fine. But it's also a really good indication because I got selected. Like, as you said before I was joining the stream, was CCP's definitely going to be working on Podfin. Well, we can assume that they are.
I mean, that's what I'm kind of wondering with the fact that they picked you as such. Because there are a few people who I think could have been picks, but I think it's one of those sorts of things where they got eliminated fairly soon, fairly quickly in the actual kind of thing. So like you're like the pinnacle of the picks for Pokemon that they could have done. So
yeah, which is a bit of an ego boost, I'll admit. But I'm devastated that Iter didn't get on. He was in the running right until the last bit, and then Sedo just came out of nowhere with a steel chair. It just knocked him out.
Like it was some kind of like Royal Rumble moment where like suddenly the next person comes on with a chair and just whacks him over the ropes. Like
I am actually gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and see where Sedo got his votes from. Actually, with the
they seem to just appear out of nowhere.
Well, they had to have cascaded from somebody. Is the point? So
there should be a news article coming out soon, which will have that that breakdown of the script they run.
They'll also have like the raw data file that you can download and actually run it yourself, like or look at the data yourself. So yeah, they're normally really good at being super transparent about that.
Yeah. Also, I hear there's some fake news being spread about my half trillion-esque panther. It's only currently about 370 billion-esque.
Have you not put all of the guns on it yet?
I mean, I can show you the fit if you want.
What the fuck? What the fuck, Drake? No pause in here. Come on, get your act together.
One second.
Yeah, so it looks like, Sedo actually took a bunch of extra votes from Mike Azariah. 454 votes from Mike went to Sedo. That left him in, what's that? 7, 8, 9. Like, when Mike's votes cascaded, Iter was still in 10th place. But there was only 60 votes in it at that point. So when Dalros was eliminated and the cascade came down, Sedo got more votes than Iter, and Sedo kind of snuck in at the end there. That was how that one went.
Yeah.
So it was really Mike. It was Mike that knocked Iter out. Sorry, Iter.
It may be possible that you got a few from, the...
okay, so Sedo did get 643 votes from Dalros as well.
That
So,
I was quite surprised that anyone from what they called Absolute Order voted for anyone except Dalros, because that was all the entire ballot was. They didn't recommend anyone else.
I mean,
Really?
Yeah, so essentially the AO is like 10,000 high-sec people. I don't know how many of them are active, but still. And I've had beef with them simply because the leadership, not the members themselves, but the leadership are neo-Nazis, like unironic neo-Nazis. So I really I don't like them for obvious reasons.
So we're obviously not going to dig too far into that live on Twitch.
Yeah. So
I do have a SEMA post. I do have a SEMA post that I might want to, or a SEMA meme that I might want to use, like real quick. Let's just SEMA meme this a little bit.
But yeah, no, Absolute Order are this high-sec group that parade around about being high-sec only, for sure.
They have Sov. They have Sov in Providence. But do you want to know one of their campaign promises? One of their campaign goals?
Oh, dear God.
Does Sov in Providence actually count for anybody?
I mean, technically, it works. but seriously, one of their, I guess, goals for being on the CSM was to prevent any major changes to nullsec. And then they said specifically Providence.
I mean, hey, look, goons have moved to Impasse and Tenerifis, and people are already on Reddit saying, "Oh God, we need NPC space in Impasse." So, like, here's a question: is this something that you support as a new CSMer? Do you support more NPC space for everywhere?
I think, well, maybe not everywhere, but at least the drone lands.
Yeah,
the drones definitely need to be a NPC space.
See, this was my response to the every region should have NPC systems in it. I was like, I will be absolutely fine with having NPC space in nullsec in Impasse, as long as we can have NPC space in Malpass and Kelvala as well.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not. Super last time I was really in nullsec was long before I quit the game, went to university. So long, like 7, 8, 9 years ago. But I've done a bit of whaling on Horde, and we used to staging in a place where there's no NPC space was kind of annoying, and it kind of didn't make sense that they have all of their wealth in a place where there's everywhere else has easy NPC staging, so they can get whaled on really easily.
Yeah.
Especially with the pretty badly designed what they call the crab beacons, which is basically just you're offering up your capital ship of choice. Like, oh, I'm going to make 300 mil, and I'll probably lose the ship. Like Horde space is the only place really that didn't have that disadvantage, and they had no downside for it.
The old submarine deployments were interesting and fun and a logistical challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But they were a logistical challenge. And those challenges are not equivalent in some places.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
You know, like here's a Tengu that you are living out of that has everything that you might possibly need to refit to. but also here's a Tengu you're living out of and is therefore worth like 2.5 billion ISK.
That is essentially what I do in the Panther in Poshford. Because so many people track me because they want to kill me, I simply just don't dock. If I can avoid it, I will avoid docking. So I just have thousands of filaments and drugs in my cargo and like enough ammo to last me for a month. And then every so often I will go back to high sec and then refill it for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what is the state of this Panther then? Because that was the original topic.
Do you want to get the fit? I've literally just docked where it is because
you must have you must have like a good 1,000 or so like nanite paste in there just because you know. And if you're overheating, because if you're overheating something like you're not docking, like you're gonna have to repair like the heat.
Here somewhere. You go. Here's the fit. I'm putting it in mature messages.
We
get a sneak peek, do we?
Okay, so we've got 5 Toby guns, an Estimel's cloak, a Cormac's tracking computer, a Gotan's tracking enhancer, a Draclera's RCU. These abyssal rolls, I'm not even gonna like think about considering, but like
everything that's abyssal is also officer besides the extender.
I do have a question about where is the Cormac's DCU?
I don't need a DCU. Basically, the idea is either if I get hit, I'm doing it wrong,
or you're not using you're not using an officer drone. Yeah, well, yeah, that's understandable then in that regard. But by the way, Drake, you're okay for us like putting that image up, right?
Yeah. I link it all the time.
Okay.
Volty used to hunt me quite a lot, and my nickname was Payday. And the closest they got was they were, I think, 13 kilometers away from me. And the moment they decloaked, I just happened to be warping off to go and get dinner. Like, oh fuck!
All right, so we can go just a little bit. We can probably go a little bit longer because there is no meta show tonight. Dave is not running a show tonight. Realistically, with the AT going on, we possibly would have not run.
Days, right? Like...
We possibly wouldn't have had a show today if we didn't have the CSM stuff to kind of live react to.
Yeah.
Because normally we will take a break for the AT weekends because Soth and I are
involved in some way, shape, or form.
Very involved.
Yeah, if you're not actually like flying in a team, normally you're assisting in some way, shape, or form.
You're doing something else, yeah, somewhere in the background. But yeah, so I don't want to go too far over though. So I do have a first question for Drake. A, what do you think of the AT? Do you support it continuing? And how have you been enjoying all the matches this year?
I was extremely sad for my boys in Rote to go 0-2 on the second day. That was a bit upsetting, but there've been some very good matches. I do support the AT, definitely, but I don't want it to be more common, if that makes sense.
It's always a rough thing to go 0-2.
They won 1 on the first day, and then the second day they went 0-2.
Oh, so they went 1-2 then to get knocked out, which is
just shy of prizes, unfortunately. But it's
exactly.
Yeah, it's always rough on them because they're Australian, so they're always up until like 6 a.m. to get these matches in.
That is rough.
That is unfortunately how my team went out as well, 1-2. Lost 1 on the first day, 1-1, lost 1 on the second day. So yeah, just like you say, just shy of the prize ships.
Yeah, and I want one of those prize ships. Just saying, if someone wants to sell me a Python, I'll be interested.
It'll only cost you $1 trillion.
We know this for sure.
It'll only cost you $1 trillion ISK.
I am slowly liquidating my wallet back up to $1 trillion ISK. The only issue is keeping it there before the Python comes out because. So I fit up a dread for an event in Poshfin. I forgot the ammo, so I went back. And instead of remembering the ammo, not only did I not buy the ammo, I bought an entire officer fit for a Phoenix that's also in Poshfin and fit that up. and I would only do that because I had the money spare because I've been liquidating stuff.
Fucking rich people's issues. Jesus Christ.
You know,
This man, I didn't buy the ammo. I just bought another Officer Phoenix.
Yeah. I mean, I just had to double check because in my head I was going the Python. That I knew it was the AT prizes, but it was like that's the Black Ops battleship. That's just to replace the Panther.
It is absolutely insane how cracked it is.
It is
looks
cooked.
It is.
It isn't.
So not only-
It's cooked.
Yeah, I'm going to gush a little bit here. So not only is it faster than the Panther and more agile than the Panther, with artillery it does 3,500 DPS. It cycles those guns every 4 seconds. It's fucking stupid.
Every 4 seconds with artillery.
With artillery,
It is-
1400s. Heated, of course, but still.
It is something.
What the hell is its cycle time with auto cannons?
About 0.8 of a second.
0.7 seconds if you have it heated and you've got like the Gotan 650 mils.
It's one of those bits of with projectile guns. It's about 20 to 24 effective turrets.
Yeah, it's 24 dead on because it has 6 turrets and it's minus 75% rate of fire.
Yeah.
So it's basically 4 times that.
It is cooked.
And then on top of that, it has a double prop duration. So if anyone's been using like basically a solo Panther, one thing that at least I use is double thermal shielding, which gives you 25% extra prop time each. So when you do a single prop burst and then cloak, you get 16 seconds instead of 10, which is extremely good because that's an extra 6 seconds at the top speed. Very good for maneuverability. So on the Python, that will be up to 32 seconds, and it starts at 20, which is just ridiculous.
I just saw it, 100% increase in micro warp drive and afterburner duration, just doubling it flat off the base.
And there's also the bit where like it's bonused to the scramblers and the disruptors and the stasis webs and and also the fact that it can jump and bridge and
yeah. You will also notice
it's got the Sino field reduction bonus as well. So like
you also want to look at the bonus it gets to ECM burst from its sec status.
I was looking at the ECM.
So do you want to know the origin of what that bonus has come from? I've asked CCP Zealous for confirmation, and he's like done a cheeky type-lip thing, but I'm fairly sure it's B in the I don't know if you saw my marshalling parchment that docked in 70 Hull.
No, I haven't seen that, but go on.
I'll find. But the reason that happened was because I wanted to decloak and shoot a fucking Tech 1 ship, and I was right next to a Nurgle, and I was like, well, I've got an ECM burst, and I know its strength, and that's 100% jam chance versus a Nurgle, versus a frigate. And it turns out it was only like a 98% jam chance, and that was very, very important because it didn't work. So I got I docked in 57 or 75 Hull?
Wow.
Not percent, actual, yeah. Let me
find it. Jesus, okay. 75 hit points left on your hull is, almost nothing, basically.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There's the video. They're not even close, apart from Marshall Edition.
Oh,
but God, these AT prize ships are actually just like broken. They are so good.
Yeah.
The cruiser is like pretty meh, but the frigate actually solid, and the Python is just dumb.
The frigate's really good. I thought it was a lot better because I thought it had an extra gun, but it can do 80 AU a second warp, which is just funny. The other thing is it has the highest scan probe bonus in the game. Instead of 50%, which is the highest on normal ships, is 75%. And I think with the new, with the, what are they called? Not the sisters probes, the ones above it, the ore probes or whatever. I can't remember which one they're called.
Yeah, those are going to be really
I think
good.
you can 100% scan all wormholes on a 32 AU probe size. So basically, you can just undock in like a class 5 or something, because I assume if you're in a class 5 or 6, you can afford it. A couple hundred bill. And just
set yourself up.
Yeah.
Like, here is a system that's 50 AU across, and you get 2 scans and you've got everything. That's
so it's
dumb.
it's not strong as a combat ship, like compared to like the Raiju or even the Geri. The Geri is much stronger in combat because it has long range damage and it's got really good control.
Yeah, but how often do you actually see these ships out in combat? Is the other side of that? Yeah, you know, it's reasonable, but only if you go to places like Mila.
Sure, but still,
I think
it's got
these might actually see a lot more broad spectrum use.
Yeah, I want to see what other people do on the Python, but basically what they've done is they've gone down the shield tanking route because they've given it the shield resist bonus, like the Widow. So it has a 52% Omni resist without any fittings, which is pretty fucking nutty. But they haven't improved the armor at all. You've got 1,000 extra base armor. So all the people that normally use marshals are extremely heavy tackle, like they're quad plated. They've got dedicated backup faxes, things like that. So that's not going to get improved that much. And it'd be quite funny to see if someone uses it for that, because they're just going to get everybody and their dog escalating for it.
All right. So I know that we were just in an ad break or something, and I know we've been going a while, so I do kind of want to wrap it up here. But I do have one last question for Drake. Before you've actually interacted with any of them as CSMs or whatever, what's your reaction about this CSM? Are you happy with your fellow colleagues to be? Are you kind of apprehensive? How are you feeling about... obviously, we know how you're feeling about it, but how are you feeling about the rest of the group?
There's only 3 people on the CSM19 that I've not interacted with previously, and that's Young Puke, who I've just never come into contact at all, who is the other one that was selected by CCP. Storm Delay, who I have tried to interact with before when I was doing the Poshman roundtables. He never got back to me, and also I think he's French, so I don't know if he speaks any English at all. I assume he does speak some, but I've just never talked to him. And Zintage I've never met before. But other than that, Dujek I've known for a long time. Pretty great guy. I'm a bit ambivalent on his Dreadnought changes that he was talking about, where if you're outnumbered, your dread should take less damage. That doesn't sound very good balance thing, but other than that, I like him on other things, specifically Poshman things. Kazanir and Luke I've spoken to loads in previous CSMs. Kazanir, I think, has a great vision of what nullsec can be, which will hopefully make it a lot more natural content as opposed to flash forms and basically, I don't want to shit talk nullsec as much, but basically everyone does what the FC tells them to do, and that's about it. Whereas I want it a bit more varied. Luke, the same thing. I've had a lot of discussions with Luke. He disagrees with me on quite a few things, and we agree on a lot of other things. But the important thing is he's never had a knee-jerk reaction. He's always been professional in explaining the differences. So I'll be definitely happy to work with him. Ariel should have been on the CSM 2 years ago, but he wasn't allowed for some reason. I think he's probably the most important one on the CSM. Because
I'm so glad he's on.
Yeah, he's the ESI candidate, and ESI is probably the lifeblood of EVE at this point. It's
and also on its fucking knees.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many issues with it right now.
Yeah. Even the thing they touted a year ago, the XL365 plugin, it no longer works. It just doesn't work at all.
Really?
No, yeah, I tried the other day. It doesn't work. It just says it lets you log in, and then when you do any of the commands, it just fails. It just says it's not available.
The thing that CCP built with Microsoft doesn't work, but the thing that was built by players still does. I'm sorry to tell you, audience, that I am shocked by this revelation. What an incredibly unforeseeable situation this is.
Yeah,
how could anybody tell that this would happen?
I would also like to point out, it is situation that definitely requires somebody to grab the bull by the horns on that front.
Yeah, exactly. It's also it's also not. It's more important not that he's just the ESA candidate. He is almost the authority on ESI itself anyway, because he's the guy one of the guys that does Alliance Auth. So he almost touches everything of the ESI already.
Yeah.
So if anyone's going to know a detailed, like an expert breakdown of it to explain the issues, it's going to be him.
He also has, and because we touched on it in a conversation that he had on the show. Like he also has a good amount of knowledge about like how much information is just shotgunned to, you know, the client from the CCP servers that really, to be completely honest, we shouldn't really need, right? And like reducing the amount of information that the server has to throw at each and every single client also would reduce the amount of overhead, like the overhead that like or the amount of data that like the server has to sort of, you know, go through.
There's lots of performance benefits from that.
Yeah, exactly. It will increase performance.
Not just server side, but client side as well. Like people could see actual client performance improvements. CCP don't have to spend quite so much money on their bandwidth. You know, the server doesn't have to go through quite so many CPU cycles to get one thing done. It's huge.
I do want to be a bit of a bitch right now, and specifically, you know, say something about storm delay. When we were putting together all of our CSM stuff, like I literally made a CSM candidate matrix of like, you know, who they were, whether they were incumbent, where they were from, whether they were in a self-hoarding or non-self-hoarding alliance, whether they're in high-set wormholes, faction war,
blah blah blah,
whether independents, what their sort of stuff was, and like links to sort of their campaigns and all that kind of stuff. Storm Delay was one of the few people when I was putting this together, other than Series Pro, I think, who hadn't put down a campaign thread. In the CSM campaign.
His was a week late. His was a week late. I think he had he had some sort of crisis in real life. I don't know what it is, so I'm not going to shittalk him over it.
Okay.
I did query that and said, you know, we were all told it had to be done by Friday. Why has he had a week extra?
Yeah.
And basically, they didn't go into it. They just said he had a valid excuse. So I'm like, okay, probably a real life thing. I'm not going to go into it.
I mean, if CCP I will get off my with the reasons. Then,
but he definitely didn't interact much last year either. But that being said, he was guaranteed to get on anyway because he was the Horde ballot. If I recall, he was the top of the Horde ballot last time, or was that Satan?
I don't know. He was definitely Horde.
Because I can't remember which one it was. One of them was the top, and one of them was Storm was the highest. Okay, yeah. So he probably thought that he was going to get on anyway, which he's right. He got on, which makes sense because like nullsec ballots are almost guaranteed to get on at least one of the people they want on.
Yeah,
it's it's just how it's designed. Who else? Oz. A lot of people shit talk Oz because he doesn't really play the game, as in the ship combat part of the game.
It's an important aspect.
But he is an economist, and I think CCP, who lacks an economist, kind of needs one. And even Izu was going on about Poshfin's effect on the economy, and I agree with it, which is why I'm trying to get it toned down and a bit more bloodthirsty, because the amount of print is fucking stupid.
I'm glad you have that. I'm glad you have that perspective. That like you do appreciate, like, yes, it is ludicrous. Like,
it's great, but also
not like it can stay exactly how it is. Thank you very much. Like,
I've been trying to get it. I've been trying to get into a more healthy state for a long time, and I think this year has been my most successful year. I've got 3 patches in so far with my changes, and all of them besides one has worked out really well. The other one was the drone. So basically, when everything was just Ishtars, and they ran away if you tried to push them.
Oh yeah.
The force was really high, but the destruction was really low. So the inflationary effect on the economy was really bad, worse than it is now. Sorry, my girlfriend's home. I need to go and talk to her in a minute. So one of the changes was to change the AI to be actually aggressive towards drones. If the Ishtars fuck off to 400 kilometers away, the AI will go for the drones instead to stop them being able to run the site. What actually happened was the moment any drone appeared on grid at all, there was a NPC fatwa issued for that drone, and everything would go for that poor drone.
Oh my
so
God.
that is not actually an issue with the change itself.
Yeah.
That's an issue with the way it was implemented
Yes.
and how the AI runs.
I'm just gonna go away for 5 minutes to open the door.
I mean,
yeah, okay.
We should probably be looking to wrap up here, looking at the time. But I didn't want to like interrupt Drake while he was actually talking about some of the cool stuff.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Like I'm kind of I'm really cautiously optimistic about the CSM in that regard. Like obviously, it can always go sideways because CCP can always kind of like decide not to take into account what the CSM are saying. But the fact that like Drake's here,
it's
saying what he's saying,
solid, well-rounded,
and clearly he has his eye on like how second and third order effects kind of work with him on, with the Oz on, with Ariel on, and with Mick actually as well. Like I think this is really good CSM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to be really well balanced in the end. For sure, CCP are aware, I think, with their picks. We've heard from Drake that he doesn't really know who Young Puke is, but broadly speaking, he's a low-sec FC with a little bit of an idea on how mechanisms function rather than just, oh god, this is broken, why is it broken, sort of thing. So that'll be positive. And even for the elected candidates, right? Like I'm a little bit concerned about seeing a return of Feldestry.
Yes.
But I'm hoping
beyond that, like Feldestry has already done the vast majority of the damage that it could. There is no way to change it further. Okay, I'm not gonna utter that phrase in the same way that I was going to, but like there's not a vast amount more that you could do to hurt industry right now.
Yeah.
So anything that Kenneth is gonna put his like perspective into is going to it's going to have some positive effect somewhere. I
just hope that like CCP doesn't like look to Kenneth like individually as somebody who can steer them through a bunch of changes like in isolation as such, right? Because like that's sort of why Feldestry actually happened was it seemed as though CSM were kind of almost, or CCP was almost like taking him aside and kind of like working with him to sort of instigate some stuff, or at least explain a bunch of things. At the time he was there was that, obviously there was that suggestion, that viewpoint. It is also worth noting, just for sure, that Kenneth on that CSM16, he was basically the only person involved in significant industry in that kind of way.
Kenneth was the one looking at the taxes as well, the tax rebalance, if I recall.
It was that bit where, like, he had a lot of experience with that side of the game that a lot of the rest of the CSM was kind of lacking. Whereas this time around, we've got Kazanir, who does look at things from a very wide perspective. He's not necessarily in the details of everything, but he will be the first to speak up if something seems like it's going to be kind of whack.
Yeah.
We've got Oz, obviously, who's very tuned in on the markets and the market effects. So anything that CCP are looking to do industry-wise will have more than one voice on how very specifically this might impact player interactions and also the economic functions. So I'm not really worried about Feldestry 2.0, 3.0, whatever it is this year.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering, Drake, do you understand what we mean by Feldestry?
Yes, because Kenneth had a huge plan of how to rebalance the entire system to make it wasn't necessarily content based, but it's to rebalance the inflation of the game on the MER, if I remember.
Hello.
It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Did you
And
see the
CCP kind of went for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of what we meant by that.
Yeah, I've known about it. It was like 2 years ago that he either started or finishing pushing for it, and that was
CSM19 was when it first started coming through.
3 years. Yeah, I do remember speaking to him about it.
It was kind of included as part of the scarcity patches.
Like a redistribution and a changing of like a lot of ships like recipes,
material requirements
and stuff. That was when suddenly Titans and stuff required a whole bunch of water, right?
When the build cost went up to 180 bill.
Yeah. That was Feldestry. Like when
excuse you while you need a low sec gas to build a Titan now.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Quick.
Yep.
So remember, it was the first week of your interviews. There was like one or two guys, but one especially, that was like jerking so hard about poor small gangers and shit. Did he make it on?
Without a name, we don't know who you're talking about necessarily.
It was one of the two from the first. Like there were two of them, two guys. I'm just happy Phantomite's not on because I hate listening to him talk about small gangs.
Don, you are not helping us here.
Do Jack no, I don't think. Like, I'm just trying to think of like who we had on first.
We're gonna move past Dawn's question because it's a silly question.
I just wanted to know if they made it on.
It's combative at best.
Dawn, is Dawn talking about the people that were
that we had
absolutely anti-blacks?
Probably.
One of them.
Then you're probably talking about Gideon and Phantomite, and
I remember Gideon.
They didn't.
I don't know if he was.
They didn't make
the
it.
worst one.
Gideon, we had Gideon, Itar, Como, and
Como,
I think that was it. Like that on the first show. Yeah,
I still can't believe Itar didn't make it on.
Yeah,
that was a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
Seto came from behind with the mic and Dalros. Almost dorsal. I was close. It's an acronym at least. So yeah.
Are you just saying that AO's CSM candidate was a dyslexic dolphin?
No, I did not say anything like that. I may not have. I may have been thinking it, but I did not say it.
Have you seen what I put in mid-show messages? The AO guys are having an absolute meltdown, and it's basically everyone doesn't respect high sec.
Do I put it up on the chat?
No.
Of course, yes, I will. Yes, I will, because it's on Reddit.
Whoa, good.
It's on the internet anyway.
We are now 25 minutes over. We should be. We should be looking to call it here. But
I thought we were just sitting around talking.
No, Dawn.
We're still live.
You are live. Please do not swear. Of live. But
do not.
I think less of them.
Whoa. Okay, right. Okay, so I think we are going to call it there.
Yes.
We do have, obviously, on Reddit, the Alliance... Absolute Order, sorry, not Alliance, anything. AT, AO, everything.
AO.
It's all alliances in the end.
Yep.
Thank you, Drake, for jumping in towards the end of the show to give us a live reaction on your selection for the CSM.
And you're fit.
I don't know that we necessarily need to do one last things today because I think we've all had plenty to say. We will see you all next week, I guess.
Yes. Definitely. I don't know if there's definitely going to be a meta show, but if the meta show is on, it's going to be tomorrow.
There is no meta show today.
There's no meta show today. And then obviously
it might
on
be
this
tomorrow,
channel,
it might be some other day.
then obviously on this channel we have like all sorts of other kind of non-Eve related stuff. If you are interested in like just general gameplay stuff, Dawn
has a show where she's playing Baldur's Gate 3
right now. Yeah.
Yep.
So
do you have a dark urge?
Yes.
Apparently. But yeah, more info from that is like definitely available on our like the schedule kind of side of things. So like I think that is literally twitch.tv/Imperium News/schedule. So if you can check that, you can check that out. And there's probably a command on the chat bot that you can kind of use. I don't know which command that is, but
you're now waffling a bit, Mac.
I know I am waffling. But anyway, because I have to get the schedule and stuff done. So yeah, thank you very much for watching.
See you next week.
Bye bye.
See ya.